Okay, I'm afraid we have to start. I know not everybody is in the room yet, but we have a very tight schedule. So welcome to this General Assembly, which is less general than we hoped for. So here's the agenda. So I will give a general introduction, and then we will have reports from the working groups of E-SWAN. I will give these myself for fluency of the presentation. And then the chairs of the different committees, the PubCom, ORCom, EOCom, and the ESWWPC will present their works during the last year. Then we will get a financial report from Antonio, and then there will be announcement of the new executive board. Then we will have some time for questions, probably less than 12 minutes, and then there will be a closing session. Okay, so let's start with the general introduction. First of all, what I will present here is, or what we will present here is the provisional annual report and budget of 2024, because 2024 is not over yet, so and we have to report per year. So we will organize in the spring of 2025 an extraordinary General Assembly to vote for the final report and the final budget. That will be again, like last year, in the form of an OPA vote. And that will be the final reports, of course. And they will be published on the E-SWAN website, of course. The exact date of this extraordinary General Assembly is not known yet, because it will have to be decided by the new executive board, and we will learn at the end of this session who is in this new executive board. And then the provisional activity report and a provisional financial report are already available on the E-SWAN website. You may have seen it on this link. So E-SWAN, most of you know from the organization of the Space Weather Week and the medals and the Journal of Space Weather and Space Climate. But we are much more than that. At this particular meeting, there is a General Assembly now, but there's also a parallel session organized by the EOCom committee at 12 today, CD2. And there will be the medal ceremony at 5:45. There's these slides. I covered the names because they are not known yet. You will learn who won the medals this year. There are also topical discussion meetings organized by working groups from E-SWAN. Tomorrow at 4:30, there's the Diversity, Equality and Inclusion Working Group that organizes TDM. On Wednesday, there's one from the Sustainability Working Group, TDM 10. And on Thursday at 4:15, there's TDM 14, which is organized by the User Engagement Working Group. We also have a booth. You may have seen it already. During the coffee breaks, you can get information and talk to people from the E-SWAN organization if you have questions. And of course, we will also looking forward to this first plenary session today, which is exactly in what our business is. So the E-SWAN organs are like this. You may have seen it on our website. There are two new things. The Awards Committee and the ESWWPC became now officially organs of the E-SWAN. So they are now integrated with statutes and bylaws, guaranteeing that we don't interfere. E-SWAN does not want to control everything. On the contrary, we do not control anything. That is guaranteed by the bylaws of each of these committees. They are standalone committees, of course. We only support them financially and with organizational things. So we just want to make sure that this meeting lives forever. Yeah? And that is the reason why we created E-SWAN. Another novelty is the council. It was already there last year, but now it was actually formed, and it is active. You will hear about the report later today. The executive board in the past year was, of course, the same as the year before, except that Luca and I switched. So Luca became vice president and I became president, as was foreseen. I don't know how to point on this screen, but if you see the schedule here, at the end of 2024, so the vice president in 23 becomes president in 24, stays another year president, and then becomes vice president, and vice versa. So the president of 23 becomes vice president in 24. And then we had elections, and we will know later in an hour or so who the new board is. What do we do with the executive board? We have a lot of meetings. We try to meet regularly, at least once every 3 months, but sometimes there are more meetings, as you can see here. I put the dates. And we discuss a lot of things, financial issues, how to support the survey, for instance, by the ESWW working group, possible actions regarding the interference of satellites. That was one of the members put an alarm, and we had a discussion about that in the board and in the working groups and the committees. The homogenization of the committee bylaws, because some were very different from others. There was a suggestion to create a new medal. We have discussed that, but there is no new medal yet, a fourth medal. We discussed the booth here that you see, how to organize it. We discussed the OCOM and the EOCOM bylaws, and insurance. The space weather book that will be available later this week. The books are sent, but they did not arrive yet, but they are printed, and they will be available for free later this week. We also discussed a lot about how to support the future locks of the European Space Weather Week, particularly to take away a part of the financial risks of the lock. And it's a very difficult meeting to organize. I organized it myself in 2018 in Leuven. It's a very, very complicated meeting, and so we want to make some things renewable, like for instance the registration page, the abstract page. So we want to make software that is a suggestion. Some people say it's not necessary. Some people say we are thinking about it. We are discussing how can we support the locks best for the future Space Weather Weeks. And also we discussed financial support, of course, particularly for this particular meeting we gave 25,000 euros for travel grants and conference fee waivers for junior scientists who need it most. So we said to give carte blanche to the organization, the LOC, we said here's 25,000 euros, give it to people that need it. And of course we also support the medal winners and with registration fees and waivers. Okay, so now I will say something about the working group activities. So there are 8 working groups. Last year there were 9. Now there are 8 because one working group was upgraded to a committee, the EOCOM, as was announced early last year. So we have these 8, and I will just go through them to discuss what they are and what they did. Let me start with the Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Working Group. This working group wants to promote the diversity, equity and inclusion in all E-SWAN related events to raise awareness of this problem, and also to promote the vision of E-SWAN and the values on diversity, equity and inclusion. These are the members, you can see them there at the bottom, and the activities they did, they wrote a statement, an E-SWAN DE&I statement. They developed a strategic plan. They analyzed the questionnaire they put last year in the previous Space Weather Week, and they organized a TDM this week. The funding working group finds ways to ensure a sustained funding. Yeah, so this is a problem on a longer scale. We want sustainability and sustained funding also, and sustained opportunities. They're finding sustained opportunities to fund the European Space Weather and Space Climate activities. The names of the people are there. The chair is Steven de Witte, and the activities are here. I took this from the annual report that is online also. ESA was invited to submit a change proposal for the SWESNet. On the EU side, based on the socioeconomic benefit study, this SPSWE01, conducted by PwC in France, an European Space Weather Operational Service selection analysis was made, and 3 user domains were prioritized, namely the impact on power systems, the impact on spacecraft operations, and the impact on telecommunications. And then, of course, we are currently funded by an international coordination action by the Belgian National Science Foundation. That was his announcement. We applied for it with Gerda also, and we got the money. But of course, this will end next year, at the end of next year. We can apply for a renewal of this, and we will do it. We don't know if we will get it, but I don't know, the call is not out yet, but it will be probably in April next year, and we will try to get another 3 years of funding. The maximum is 225,000 euro for 3 years, so that's 75,000 per year. The liaison office then is representing E-SWAN in relevant organizations, SCOSTEP, COSPAR, all these organizations that are involved in space weather, and they try to find ways to collaborate and support common goals. They provide suggestions for leveraging already preset concepts like the COSPAR E-SWAT ethics. Here you see the members of this LIAS committee, and the activity update is on the right-hand side here. They supported the executive board in the technical communications of different international bodies. We contacted some of these bodies, as you may have read in the annual report, to set up naming convention for large space weather storms, like for meteorological events. And that was supported by the LIAS. And also the LIAS chair was in contact with the Asia-Oceania Space Weather Alliance, organizing the workshop this year. Well, there's a link there on the page. So then we have the operational activities, infrastructure and data and models. The chair of that working group is Marie-Dominique, and co-chairs are Elena Driver and Dalia Buresova. The objectives are, well, there are many. They want to identify specific needs in terms of infrastructure instrumentation in this context and determine which of them is underfunded, and to support ground-based facilities, also for space weather and space climate research. They want to establish open data policy and provide recommendations on data formats. Provide guidance on how to validate data products, promotion of instrument operation, etc., etc. So you see all the objectives there. And in the past year, the members of this working group have formed various subgroups, actually, and their goal is to review the currently available relevant sources and provide recommendations on enhancing them and addressing any missing elements if they are. The key focus areas are open data policy, data standardization and availability of large space and ground-based data catalogs related to space weather and space climate community or research. Okay, so the ongoing efforts aim to improve the accessibility, usability and organization of space weather and space climate research for the broader community. And Marie-Dominique will give later this week in P3, plenary session 3, a space weather space validation talk about it. Then we have the sustainability working group, which has the objective to examine the environmental impact of our activities, to increase the community awareness and to search for alternative, less damaging ways of working and meeting together. And they want to help us make adequate choices to reduce our carbon footprint and environmental impact. There are 14 members of this sustainability working group, and they are listed here. I think Sophie and or Thierry are the chair and co-chair. Activity update. During the previous, well, they organized TDM 10 to provide feedback on initiatives taken in several countries, and particularly in France. They organized a one-day workshop also with climate biodiversity fresks, as they call it, in the morning on the day preceding the previous Space Weather Week. They investigated alternative formats for future Space Weather Week meetings. They provided a report on the environmental impact of satellite mega constellations for the E-SWAN Executive Board. I mentioned that. They organized also a series of regular webinars on topics such as the format of future meetings and things like that. In 2024, they will organize 2 more webinars, one on life cycle assessment in practice, and one on how the French astronomy and astrophysics community plans to cope with the necessity to reduce the environmental impacts of its activities. In 2025, there will be more webinars. There's a series planned, so there will be plenty of webinars for people that are interested in it. And because of that, they asked us to support them with a Zoom webinar license, and the board agreed with that, so everybody can use it, of course, not only the sustainability working group, but that is a general Zoom webinar license that everybody, all the working groups and committees can use. Then we also have the Space Weather Policies and Plan working group. which wants to assess the national and international landscapes concerning space weather policies and plans, and also collecting data and reading and discussing the existing documents. These are the members. They are listed here. Marina Skender is the chair of this working group. And you may have noticed that they conducted already an online survey among the E-SWAN members, which was kind of interesting, the outcome at least. So the survey took place on between 7th and 29th of March this year. And the responses are thought to be affiliated with 10 European countries. It was found that 29% of the respondents were unaware of national entities representing space weather in their country. The national plans and procedures to evaluate natural risk and respond to natural disasters are found to be unfamiliar again to 29 respondents, and 29% of the respondents and 43% of the respondents said that there are no overall national focuses in space weather at all. So there's a lot of work to do for us. The national contact points for the EC Horizon Europe, the EC Space Program and the EC Program boards are unfamiliar to 58% of the respondents, 58, 2 out of 3 almost. They will organize a second survey to assess familiarity with the current national space-related institutions. You will hear of that soon, I guess. And then I think finally the technical working group, which primarily wants to provide technical support to the E-SWAN community. And the main goals are to set up mailing lists for each working group, administrative cloud service, support to the publication committee, maintenance of the website, maintenance of member database, the votes they also organize, the webinars, and they will also help with the implementation of the website of the next Space Weather Week. These are the people, the members. The chair is Carlos Lagodera. And then activity update is that they did a lot of things because we need them all the time. A few examples is that they created an administrative templates to be filled by the working groups for the information about the working group on the webpage. They created a document with the technical platforms currently used in the community, and they detailed the procedure explaining how to add new E-SWAN members. And they will also, they also insist on purchasing this Zoom license that I mentioned before, and the following steps for this working group's future consist of fundamental support to the E-SWAN community in various aspects, redesigning the webpage to improve accessibility, and also support the implementation of the website of next year's Space Weather Week. Oh, there's one more, the user engagement working group. This one is dedicated to the involvement of the various actors in space weather and space climate, and trying to search synergy with the EOCOM. And the objectives are to identify actors and their specific needs, and also to, in collaboration with EOCOM, organize workshops on relevant topics, and provide also suggestions for the space weather and space science community on how user engagement can be supported and leveraged. These are the members. Veronica Haberle is the chair, and Balázs Astalos is the co-chair. What did they do in the past year? Well, during the previous Space Weather Week, they organized a successful topical discussion meeting, TDM 10. And in fact, that findings of this TDM were summarized in a document, and they asked us if they can publish it. So us is the executive board, and we agreed it, so we paid for the publication of this document. And then also they organized TDM 14 during this week to respond directly to the identified needs. They organized this TDM. They also, in addition, established a newsletter to spread out end-user related information. So there's a link to their specific webpage. Okay, so now we come to the reports from the committees, and I now ask Piers to present the slides from the European Space Weather Week Program Committee. Yes.
Thanks very much. Please don't switch over yet. Okay, my name is Piers Jiggins. I have the honor of being the chair of the program committee for this year's European Space Weather Week. I'll be quick with my slides. You will hear enough from me this week, I'm sure. This is an overview of the program committee with its present membership, which is 20 people, 21 over the course of the year. Breakdown of the different working groups that we have. I'm really just putting this up here to give you a list of names so you can seek out these people, ask questions if you have anything about the program, about things that you would like to change, improve. One thing I did want to pause on is that I am the chair this year. The previous chair was Mario Bisi. Mario was the chair for 4 years for European Space Weather Week, so he's done a great deal of work. He continues on the program committee, but this year he's the vice chair, and then he will go back to being a standard member. So I just want to thank Mario for all of his work. And to say that next year, Carmen Kozarev will be from the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, will be the vice chair, and he will then become the chair for the year after that. This is an overview of the composition. I don't want to take too long on it. Our work is divided into 8 working groups. They range from things like the parallel sessions to the plenary sessions, the overall organization, how we communicate, and also work on sustainability and ED&I. We also have a future planning working group, so those are the ones who will take in any of your comments that we receive in the poll that I'm going to give after this presentation. We have 6 or 7 meetings a year. That's something I should report. We've had 6. The 7th will be at the end of this week. This is how the working groups are separated, so you can see that there are a number of chairs and vice chairs of 8 different working groups, and they pretty much do what I just said that they do in terms of the overall organization. My last slide before we're going to go to the poll, which is obviously the highlight of the week for all of you, is to say that we have selected the following 3 venues for European Space Weather Week. So for those of you that missed any of our announcements, you can note it now. Next year we'll be in Umeå in Sweden. The year after we'll be in Firenze, Florence in Italy, and the year after that we'll be in Dublin in Ireland. So we continue our tour of Europe, having changed the way in which we select the hosts for Space Weather Week. So I think that's all quite exciting. One of the things that Stefan mentioned was that there is a working group looking into on sustainability, which has the role of looking into future formats. And if you choose this QR code, but there'll be more of this QR code up by the E-SWAN stand, you can have your input on how we should consider the format beyond 2027. And at that point, if we could change the presenter to me so I can share the online poll, that would be appreciated. Can we change on the Zoom to the online poll, please? I'll just try pressing share. Let's see if that works. I don't know how many rights they give me, Stefan. They give me too many. It's madness. Okay, that seems to work. Hope they'll get it back again. Fine, now you get out of the way, and let's present. Perfect, okay, so, yeah, it would be nice if it was full screen, wouldn't it? Where is that? The scan is coming. You can scan this now. There is a slide where you can scan it. I will talk slowly for the first couple of slides. I'm really trying to get myself into full screen mode for this, but never mind. Okay, I think it's just about big enough for you. So, the concept here is that at the beginning of the Space Weather Week, we're going to get your input on the things you like in terms of the program, the things you'd like to change. There will be a survey at the end of European Space Weather Week, so we get the thoughts at the beginning and the thoughts at the end. The survey is a little bit more elaborated than the poll. Now this doesn't work, obviously. So this is the QR code, a bit bigger, so everyone get your phones out, scan that. Trying to look at the back to see if people look like they're struggling with that, but I'm going to give just a couple of moments. Anyone? Seems like people look happy enough. Okay then. If that's fine, I'll move on. I love the emoticons. Thanks. I think there's an unhappy face, but I hope that doesn't appear too soon. Okay, so the first section is on the general and timings of the program. So now I will ask you to vote. So on your phones, it should give you an interface to vote. Does the current European Space Weather Week program have too many organized sessions? Not enough, and not enough time for networking. So if you think there are too many sessions, you click option 1. If you think we could fit in even more, then you go for option 3. And if you think it's about right, you go for option 2. Now, let me see how many we've got. About 60. I'll wait a bit longer on this question. I'm expecting once you've got going in the flow, when we'll be a bit faster. I think we're about 150 or 200 people in the room, which means I've got about half of you at best. Okay. We don't have so much time, so let's move on. The start time this year for Tuesday to Friday is 9 o'clock in the morning. Previously, we've started earlier. Would you prefer to start at 8:45, 8:30, or 9 o'clock? Please choose your preferred option. When you're answering these questions, one thing I should have pointed out at the beginning is we have a very condensed program. We would like to give people the opportunity to see as much as they can. Please don't always select the options with the lowest overall time and the least overlaps, because that gives us a very, very difficult proposition when we are trying to organize the program. But I have a question later on to tackle that. Okay, the finish time Monday to Thursday is 6:30. Would you prefer to be much earlier, 6 o'clock, for example? Before 6 o'clock, around 6 o'clock, or is the same time, is that good for you, 6:30? It's funny, when you do a poll, like standing up here waiting 10 seconds to vote, it seems like an eternity. But I think we've got to around about the number that we had before. So I will move on. We're about 100 people voting. That's not bad. Next question. In order to alleviate some of our time pressures, should we extend the program into Friday afternoon, evening? Well, not evening, but at least afternoon or late afternoon. Should we keep it at 1 o'clock, mid-afternoon, 3:30, or late afternoon, so 6:30, something like that? Most often, people really want to get home before the weekend. Okay, so the next questions are related to the plenary and parallel sessions. European Space Weather Week this year has 4 slots of 1 hour and 30 minutes for plenary sessions. Should we have the same, or should we have more plenary sessions or fewer? In plenary. So it should be the number of plenary slots that we should have. So 4 is basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We have 1. If we had to have 5, we'd probably put 1 on Monday. Otherwise, we'd free up some time in the program for more parallel slots, for example. And I think we got just about to our... I think we're increasing the number of people voting. That's good. It's better than it going the other way. If we were to remove some plenary sessions, should we introduce shorter slots with plenary talks? So you can imagine something like they have at COSPAR, where you have a sort of plenary talk and then people go to their parallel sessions. Your fingers aren't getting tired already, surely. Okay, next up, this year we have 4 sessions in parallel at a time. That is in contrast to the wishes from this poll last year, and I apologize for that. This is because we have this pressure on the program, where the conveners obviously would like to have as many of the talks that they can. The people want to talk, but then in order to make some more time, we had to put the sessions to 4 in parallel. So that's the middle option here. If you'd like to go back to 3 in parallel, then that's the first option, and 5 in parallel is the last option. Bear in mind, this is the instrument that is the most powerful for us to get the more oral talks in, but we will take into consideration all of your answers when we're planning for next year. I think we got over the 100 mark. So I'll move on. This year we have 2 rotations of posters, so 3 slots in each rotation, a total of 7 hours over 6 slots. These are in parallel with coffee breaks. Would you like to see the same time? You think it's a good amount of time for posters? You think that we could get away with less time for posters, or you'd actually like to see even more time for the posters? Bear in mind, we have more poster presentations than we do oral presentations. So that is a side effect of the pressure on the program. But of course, the posters are normally up for half the week, so you can go and talk at your leisure as well. Okay. Then, should we retain the special plenary elements in the schedule? So the E-SWAN General Assembly. There's also the ESA Space Weather Working Team, which will be on Wednesday. Option 1 is to keep them both as plenary. Option 2 is to have just the General Assembly as plenary and the ESA Space Weather Working Team in parallel to other things. Option 3 is the other way around. And then the last one is to say we could put these things in parallel to at least one other thing. I'm not saying we'd have 4 things in parallel to it, but just as an option for you. Again, most people want to have more things in plenary, fewer things in parallel, but we have a lot of time pressure on the overall program. Okay, then let's move on. There's a lot of shock in this, and angry people. Wow, I should definitely move on. The fair is much beloved by the current European Space Weather Week Programme Committee Chair, but how much does it matter to you? Do you really like it? Do you quite like it? You think it's all right? You could take it or leave it, or you'd definitely scrap it. So the fair this year will start at, I think, 3 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, and then it will go into the early evening. And that's a staple for European Space Weather Week and a really nice time for networking. But of course, again, we have time pressure on the program, so it's interesting to get your feedback on it. Because we could begin it in parallel to other things, for example. Did I miss one? No, I didn't. So the topical discussion meetings. There are 4 slots for topical discussion meetings this year. And we want to know if you think that 4 slots is a good number, or we should have fewer slots or more. Just for your information, this year we had exactly the number of proposals for topical discussion meetings as we had slots, which was 4 times 4. 5 times 4. No, 4 times 4. In fact, we could have had 5 times 4, but we had 16 and plus 1. So we didn't really need more slots this year, but it might be that you feel that more discussion is useful and we should have more in other years. I'm losing the count of these. I'm getting more emoticons than I am votes. Oh, no, there we go. Good. All right. So they are currently 4 in parallel, as I just about managed to say. How many TDMs should run in parallel? Is 4 a good number? Could you stomach 5 or even 6? Okay. Then TDMs this year are 1 hour long. Previously, they have been longer. I think last year people voted for 1 hour. That was seen as enough time. But you have the option here to vote for a little more time or a lot more time. Okay. Then priorities. So now I make you choose. You can vote for more of everything, but now I need to know, do you prioritize more plenary sessions, parallel sessions, topical discussion meetings, or the other options that are now not appearing? Posters, informal discussions, those kind of things. Please vote now. More compressed conference. You want to be done in 3 days. Go. You shouldn't do. Coimbra's lovely. I mean, you should hang around. Okay. So it's a bit mixed, but it's interesting, very interesting result. Thank you. And And now, a few slides on remote attendance, travel and sustainability. How important is it for you to be able to reach the venue by train or with fewer flights? Is that very important, moderately important, or it's not important to you at all? I think I'm done in that. Okay. The hearts have overtaken the shocks. That's nice. Appreciate that. Next question. Rate how important it is overall for you to reduce the carbon footprint of the conference. Is it very important, moderately important to you, or it doesn't matter to you at all? I think there were some studies that showed that in space missions, one of the really significant aspects in terms of the overall carbon footprint is actually the travel of scientists. Okay, and how do you rate the online attendance of a conference like Space Weather Week? Do you think it is as good as being there? It's not like being there, you suffer through it, or you find it to be a waste of time and energy? I like to be a bit blunt with my options, just so you know what you're voting for. But don't let that put you off if that's how you feel. I need this thing to adjust so I can see at least enough people have voted. Okay, well, we're cramped for time, so I'm going to move on. Thank you. And if, to reduce the carbon footprint, European Space Weather was organized online only for some years, would you still attend? Do you think that brings strong benefits? Do you think it loses its worth? Or would you say maybe, like you prefer to be face-to-face, but if it were online, you'd probably attend? I'm keeping a lot of these questions consistent to those last year because it's interesting to track how opinions and views change. I warn you that someone's going to have to change the presentation back in a moment from me. So quickly, do you find E-SWAN and European Space Weather Week sufficiently diverse? Yes, leaning to no, or no. And then, do you find Space Weather Week and E-SWAN in general equitable? As in, the processes established give a fair chance to everyone wishing to participate on all levels. So it's more a process-driven thing. Yes, to some extent, yes. No, only in some cases, or not at all. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Do you find it inclusive? So anyone who chooses to participate can feel a sense of belonging? Yes, yes to some extent, no, or no, not at all. I tried to clarify the difference between those two things a bit. One is more the process, and one is more the feeling. Had to look that up online to see what those differences were. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And do you feel or have strong connections who do feel underrepresented in E-SWAN or European Space Weather Week? Yes. Yes in E-SWAN. Yes at Space Weather Week, or no. So if you know people or you yourself feel that you're underrepresented, then it's the left-hand option, yes, and the right-hand option is the no. So this is a little bit of a modification to the question because what we realized last year was we're probably representing the people that are here, but the people that aren't here, we need to think about. So that was the slight change in the flavor, and I would hope that is the end. There will be a survey at the end of the week. You will be able to find this QR code up at the E-SWAN desk, and with that, I will finish. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I hope that you can reshare the E-SWAN presentation.
Okay, thank you, Piers.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can we go to the next slide, please? So now we get the report from the publication committee. Jürgen?
Yeah, okay, good morning, everybody. No. Oh, it goes too fast, no? Okay, the Publications Committee, or PubCom in short, stands on two legs. One is the Journal of Space Weather and Space Climate, and the other is other material that is to be published. It is mostly print material. That means webinars, social media do not form part of the Publications Committee. And the Publication Committee has 7 members, a fixed number, in contrast to the other committees. That is myself as chair, and I'm editor-in-chief, and Paolo Romano is the vice chair, and he is basically responsible for the newsletter and the news flash. Natalie Krivova is also editor-in-chief, and Ilya Ozoskin, managing editor, and Jan Janssens, editorial office manager. So these are the people who form the journal leg, except for Paolo, and Paolo, Jaroslav, and Judith are the other leg. Now, quickly to the journal Space Weather and Space Climate. The directory has not changed in 224. We have associate editors, mostly based in Europe, but we have also 2 in India, 2 in the United States, and 1 in Argentina. And we got new editors in 2024. It's Gabor Faxko from the Wigner Research Institute for Physics in Hungary, Maria Graciela Molina, Universidad Nacional de Tucumán from Argentina, and Miriam Sinhuber, Karlsruhe Institute of Technology. And Young is still advisor for this. We have at present 3 topical issues open. One is the SWARM 10 years anniversary, where I should point out that this concerns only the part of the SWARM research program that concerns space weather and external and space physics, not the part of that concerns the interior of the Earth, which is also a topic and observations for SWARM. Then we have severe space weather events of May 24 and 224 and their impacts. Well, I don't know. You are probably aware that the American Geophysical Union has a collection on this, and I think is Frontiers. They have also a topical issue of this, so it's already a zoo on this, and we'll see how. And then we have one with fast and slow solar winds, origin, evolution, space weather effects. It started last year from a session held at the ESWW in Toulouse, and we have again a session on this, so it will continue. Last year I started with Stefan Heinemann, and this year it's Mateja Dumbovic who will continue on this. Now to the manuscripts. We have submitted, received 79 and 224. We have accepted so far 35, but I emphasize these are numbers in 224. So those that were accepted in 224 are in part some that were already submitted last year. The same for the rejected papers. And it takes quite a while. We have 1 review round, it's only 1, 2 review rounds 9, 3 review rounds 14, and 5 or even more review rounds, we have 11. And we have rejected 37 in 2024, 31 even before we started the review process, and 6 after review. And you see, these are maybe surprising numbers, but in the directorate we are striving to improve the quality and the reputation of the journal, and so we have become more exigent on this. And we have presently under review 39. I must excuse for this format auto shift because I write this in LibreOffice and it's apparently not the same as Microsoft Office in order to display it. So the other leg is the part that concerns other media, and that is now at the moment the E-SWAN newsletter, and this year we also introduced the E-SWAN news flash. The newsletter is a regular newsletter every month, and it covers all committees, and working groups if they have news to present. But the news flash is something that comes ad hoc when needed, and usually it addresses only one single point that is of urgent importance. And that has now well established, and it's Paolo Romano who is in charge of this. So that is all. So I think we have caught up some time for this. And I should mention, I will be at the booth on Tuesday morning in the coffee break, and on Friday morning in the coffee break. So if you have more questions on the journal, for instance, editorship, how the editorial process runs, how to submit papers, or whatever you want to know, see me at the booth either tomorrow morning or Friday morning during the coffee break. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jürgen. So now I call on Andrea to present the work from the awards committee.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Andrea Opitz. I'm the chair of the now E-SWAN Awards Committee. Last year we were still called the International Space Weather and Space Climate Medal Committee, and from this year on, we are now officially also the part of E-SWAN. We are a committee of E-SWAN, and our new name is E-SWAN Awards Committee. Since 2013, there are 3 medals distributed at the European Space Weather Week. Normally it's yearly, and these medals will continue being distributed. The Christian Birkeland, Baron Masleniko, and Alexander Chizevsky medals. The composition of the awards committee was revised compared to previous years. This year we have 3 ex officio members, one from the E-SWAN Executive Board, one from the Space Weather Week Program Committee, and one from the Journal of Space Weather and Space Climate, but now we also say that this ex officio is from the new publication committee of E-SWAN. And then we have always 9 members from previous awardees, and this way we have 12 members, voting members, and I'm there as the 13th person. I'm the chair. I coordinate all our efforts. Our nominal workflow is per year. We call for nominations in spring, then we do the selection over summer, and then we distribute the medals at the medal ceremony during the European Space Weather Week, which is normally in autumn. And also after the medal ceremony, normally the day after, there are medal lectures given by the medalists. This year, I would like to invite to a very, very nice location. This is the church next to this building. This is the old church. So the medal ceremony will be there at 17:45. Probably I can already say that we have 3 medalists, and these 3 medalists will give their talks on Tuesday at 14:15. That will be here in the auditorium. Yes, so if you want to know more about the awards committee, then please go and check at the E-SWAN website. And there is one very important thing what I would like to enhance, that we are very, very grateful to all the nominators, because these medals are distributed based on nominations. No self-nomination is allowed. It's really nominators. They nominate the candidates, and then the awards committee decides who gets these medals. And I have to say that we have a nice number of nominations and very, very high quality. Actually, all the candidates would kind of qualify for medal because they are really, really good nominees and very good nominations. So thank you very much for the nominators to put this extra time to write these excellent nominations, and please continue doing so because it makes our work hard but very nice. So thank you very much, and see you this afternoon or evening, how you prefer, at 17:45 at the medal ceremony. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Then I think the next is Domenico. Yeah, about the EOCOM, the new committee since last year. You may have to push twice. Yeah.
Okay, good morning, everybody. This committee was, this working group was granted as a committee last year. Is chaired by Sophie Czabanski and by myself, Domenico Di Mauro, and with the help of the colleagues that are listed, whose names are listed here. And of course, all the goals that the committee wants to reach are based on the willing to increase the awareness of what space weather and space climate can bring to all these sectors that are directly or indirectly affected by space weather events. So these activities are reached through its own initiatives, calls for international actions, and support to external activities. A first result, a first production, let's say, is the publication of this book. It belongs to a book series that we want to produce. And the first title is Space Weather and Space Climate, the Timeline. You can freely download from this email, from this address, open access. And you can keep your copy here at the E-SWAN booth. They should arrive, they are not here, but they should arrive in these days. So this is an effort of a dozen of experts in this field. You can read the names of the authors. And so please, download it if you are interested. Another action from the committee is the production of these booklets that are thought to be distributed to the general public, to journalists, to students, even teachers that can take inspiration for the preparation of lessons. They are written with a very simple language and are monothematic. And the first title, entitled Can I Experience a Blackout Due to Solar Storms, should be distributed before the end of this year, and then the other title will follow. But please, additional topics in new release await your contribution. So if you, later on, I will explain how to reach us. A new action comes from the idea of renew or even generate new shows to be used in the planetarium. Planetariums spread around Europe are, from an historical point of view, a domain of astrophysics and astronomists But we think that space weather is the topic around space weather is worth of being shown in planetarium. So there is a team of scientists, forecasters, outreach experts who are working on the production of new shows, of new video. It's a little bit expensive. It's a little bit expensive activity, actually. So we are also seeking fundings to produce such new products, let's say. The committee is also in charge of distribute grants for support educational activities like schools or in meetings, of course, related to space weather and space climate topics. Last year was funded were funded two schools. One was held in L'Aquila in Italy, and the other also in Italy, Turin. And the year before, here in Coimbra, a school was supported by E-SWAN. Very appreciated school short course, let's say, we call school again, was organized by E-SWAN with the help of some institutions. The first one was held in Toulouse in coincidence with the last Space Weather Week. And the second was held 2 weeks ago. It was online, completely online. That is also a task that we are involved, trying to explore new way of communicating, of networking in our hybrid world. So we dedicated a task to find new ways. It is an online tools exploration task force, together with the task force dedicated to the social media outreach. So we nowadays communicate through social media. So that's another channel that we want to use. So I want to conclude this short presentation in reminding you that there is today at 12, we have a session dedicated to the opportunity of bridging science and society, of course. And the oral session is today, and the poster session will be held on Tuesday and Wednesday. Please, for any of you who need to contact us to send in initiatives, to propose initiatives, please, you can use this address. All the members of this committee will receive your request. And don't miss the opportunity to visit the booth, the E-SWAN booth, where you can keep your copy of the book. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Romeo. Then I think it's now the turn to Jürgen again for the council, right?
For the council and the...
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to push the next slide, I think.
Oh, no, that's the sorry.
Oh, it's first the financial report, sorry. Yes, Antonio. So also the budget is provisional, of course. The year is not over yet.
Okay. So this is the financial report for this year and the budget for the next one. So I will present first these expenses of the year in 3 categories. This year we have categorized the expenses We don't have a category for research. We just have infrastructure operational to make it the association running. The support to space weather and space climate activities, and the public outreach. So in the infrastructure, we have a small amount to keep the bank account running, almost 60 euros per year. Then we have the E-SWAN insurance, which we didn't have before. This is the first year we have. It's a small amount also. It covers the administrative things. And then we have changes to statutes. We didn't make changes to statute this year, but we did it last year. We make a wrong transaction, 20 euros more than was expected. So this year we paid the right amount, and then we got the reimbursement. Then we have also the big amount in this category goes to the BIRA IT support to keep the technological things we need. And this makes a total of 18,000 euros, a bit more. Then at the bottom, on the public outreach, we had at the EGU, we had a booth, 1,500 euros. We had also flyers and booklets, stickers at the EGU. That amounts to 700 almost. Then here we have lanyards that you probably have if you had time to register before this. The idea is to keep these lanyards for more European Space Weather Weeks, so it's a good investment, 700 euros, a bit more. And finally, the roll-ups for this meeting also. This amounts to 3,000, and then supporting the activities, we have, we already mentioned, and we saw pictures of the support to the school operational space weather fundamentals in L'Aquila, and also the activities for outreach at the 17th European Solar Physics meeting. That was 1,000 each of the activities, and we had at the bottom the support to the last meeting in Toulouse, 2023. We supported with 5,600 euros, and also Stefan talked about the support to this year, 25,000. This amount to 32,700. And with this expensive of the year, we can see a general picture of the partial balance for this year. Well, I didn't mention, sorry, this is up to the 16th of October when we uploaded the report on the website. There is one change this year from the last one that we are not voting for the report because we need to vote for the report at the end of the fiscal year, so there is no need to vote now, and we will vote in 2025. So this is for this year. The incomes are on the left. We have a small amount for memberships. These are direct membership, 105 euros, and we have a bigger amount that comes from the lock of the European Space Weather Week that goes through registration of the participants. This was 9,750 euros. This is still pending from Toulouse last year. The ones from this year will come later. And the big amount, the best support to the association comes from the Flanders Association and the project Stefan talked already. We had this year payment 3 and 4. It would be 6 payments, 2 per year. So we got 29,000, a bit more. And others, which is basically the reimbursement from the statutes. And this amounts to 70,000 euros almost this year. On the right, there is the summary for the expenses that we saw on the other slide. And this makes the partial balance for this year of 15,000 euros. which we can compare with the partial balance. So let me just, I don't know if there are people online, so I don't want to use this too much. But this is the partial balance, 15,000 for this year, and this was last year that we took also some months of the beginning of the association in 2022 and 2023. We had a bigger amount of balance, so now we have a more balance in 2024, and the total now in the account is this. Well, not now, because this is for 16th October. So this is the account at this moment, and this is for 2025. What we expect to invest is similar to what we expected last year. We have the actual remnant of 21,000 euros on the top left. Then we expect memberships, some membership directly, and also we expect the last remaining part of the project. It will make 112,000 euros. And what do we expect to spend this? Well, backend management costs, the support to schools, we expect 20,000 euros, dissemination and outreach material. Well, these are numbers that we can modify as the year comes, but it's our idea. The dissemination and outreach, 5,000, similar to this year. IT support, similar, 20,000. Works committee support, 3,000. The travel grants for the European Space Weather Week, 15,000. And there is one book which is already paid, but because we are reporting at 16th of October, we will pay this also. It would be a total of 70,000, 71,000, and we expect to have a final balance of 40,000. And I think that's all for the financial report.
Okay, thank you. And then I can call now Jürgen for the report of the Council and an important announcement.
Okay, I will talk a little, very short, about the Council and what we did. Sophie is chair of this, but she cannot be present on site here, so they asked me to do it. So the Council is composed of only ex officio members. This Sophie, she is the chair of the EUCOM, Andrea, chair of the awards committee, then Piers and Mario, the chairs and vice chairs of the program committee for the Space Weather Week, and Paolo and myself, the chairs for the PubCom. Now, given the importance and the activity of the EUCOM, we plan to include also the vice chair of the EUCOM, so Domenico. You will probably also have a seat there in the future. No? The council activity this year, we started actually the council only this year. Sophie was elected as chair, and then we started with several online conferences to organize the council, to define the activities for this year, and of course to organize one of the main tasks this year, the election of the new executive board, which you think might be an easy go, but it was not an easy go. So we formed a task force, a search task force, which was chaired by myself, and we had Andrea and Paolo as members from the council, and we had Dalia and Robertus as external members. Dalia and Robertus were all members of the founding board of the E-SWAN, so they have a certain history in this as well. And the result of the elections, no surprise to anybody, because we had only 4 candidates. Luca and Ronald are re-elected, and Jaroslav and Michaela are newly elected, and Stefan will continue as president for the next year. And this board has to distribute the roles within the next 2 weeks at maximum. So that is all from my side. Again, at the booth on tomorrow and Friday, I will also represent the council. If you have questions about the council, you may also come and find me there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jürgen. So before starting the questions and answers, I would like to thank, of course, the two people that are leaving the executive board, Anna and Antonio. Thank you very much for all the work you did. It was hard work, because there's a lot of work in the startup of an organization like this. And I welcome, of course, the new members, Gerda and Michaela, who could not be here, unfortunately, because she's in between two shops. But yeah, and not, of course, only the executive board members, also everybody who is serving in a working group or in a committee. Thank you very much for your efforts. We know it is a lot of work, but without you, there would be no E-SWAN and probably no, on the long run, no Space Weather Week, maybe no Space Weather organized research in Europe. So it's very, very important. It's not rewarded. It is rewarding. It feels rewarding, but it is not paid. But we need you. So please continue these efforts. Thank you very much. Yeah, to everybody. So now we had foreseen 12 minutes. We are a bit behind of time, but if there are questions, shoot. Everything was absolutely clear. Well, we will be here, of course, all week. And at the booth, you can meet the members of E-SWAN. I will be also present all week. So if you have questions afterwards or want to discuss something in private, no problem. We can do that. There are no questions. I don't see any fingers at least. Okay, then I think we may maybe saved part of the coffee break.